In the past year, I've come to realize that there is really one distinction between a healthy relationship and an unhealthy relationship. Whether it be someone that's your best friend, a partner, a parent, a sibling, doesn't matter. If you look online, there are so many different types of red flags that are kind of like thrown in your face. There are so many different messages about how to determine whether someone is going to be a person that is capable of being, you know, not super toxic and manipulative and abusive to you. But I promise you, if you just look out for this one thing, it will take care of all the other things. Because I had this thought of, oh my gosh, if there was actually just one red flag, that is what it is. I want to do an experiment with you because I've not looked this up yet. I want to ask Google the question, what are the red flags to look out for? All right, let's just see. Let's go to the top results by Better Up. Okay, 15 red flags in a relationship you shouldn't ignore. Overly controlling behavior, lack of trust, feeling low self-esteem, physical, emotional, or mental abuse. No shit, Sherlock? Maybe? Narcissism, anger management issues, codependency, inability to resolve conflict, constant jealousy, gaslighting, lack of emotional intelligence, negatively affecting a relationship with family and friends, inability to communicate openly, lack of social connection or friends. And I actually didn't expect this, but you know what this article didn't mention? The one red flag that you can actually spot somewhat early on. The one red flag that you have to look out for is a person's relationship with accountability. And I know you're probably thinking, no shit, bitch, obviously. Before you start to think that that is a simple statement, I am not just talking about any kind of accountability. Because believe me, if you're watching these videos, chances are you are not the dumbest, least self-aware person alive. So I'm not bringing this up because I think that you have the social awareness of an elementary schooler or something, okay? I'm bringing this up because you can be in a relationship with someone that seemingly takes accountability, but the question is that accountability conditional or not? As a person who has recently been in all kinds of relationship with people who were not necessarily the healthiest people for me to be in relationship with, I've come to realize that accountability is not just about saying, I'm sorry. It's not just about being able to admit your faults. Let me give you an example. At some point in time that shall not be named, I was in a relationship with someone, and one of the things that made it hardest for me to be really honest with myself about how unhealthy of a place we were in was because from where I was standing, this person was taking accountability. When they would do things that really hurt my feelings and when I would express that in a forward way, even if they didn't initially take accountability, at a certain point they would apologize, they would say sorry, and that person was always honest. I could ask them questions that honestly they could have pretty easily lied about, and instead they gave me the gift of the truth, which I'm incredibly grateful for. But what I did not see at the time was how conditional their accountability was. The only times this person would take accountability is when they really deeply felt guilty about something that they did, when they could look at the situation objectively and recognize that there was no real way to frame it where I was the bad guy. Accountability was essentially only taken if they knew for certain that they were the primary person in the wrong. One of my friends a few years back said this one thing that was really funny, but I think in hindsight kind of points to the exact idea that I'm talking about. He said, I'm always right, and if I'm ever wrong, then I just take accountability for it, and then suddenly I'm in the right again. He delivered it a lot better than I did. Like, I'm just not even gonna lie about that. When people have a hard time taking accountability, they are often less concerned with their true impact on other people, and they see the world through a black and white lens. When people view things through the lens of right versus wrong, they tend to primarily assume that they are in the right. And when someone believes they're in the right, anything that you do that hurts them is now wrong, is now bad. Which to a certain degree is fair, but here's the problem that comes in with people who view things this way. Let's just say you're in a relationship with someone. You are spending the day with your friends, your partner is aware of this, and during that time with your friends, you're not very present on your phone, you're not really communicating with them, and then they start to feel insecure. What a lot of people do is they tend to point to the problem of, oh, that person's insecure and they're getting jealous of me being with my friends, and like that's a problem. But the real problem isn't the feeling that that person is feeling. The actual problem is how they're responding to it. There's one person who experiences that insecurity, and what they do is they may still shoot you a message or, you know, maybe get a little snappy at some points. But what they will do is they will say, okay, This person is doing this thing that is making me feel insecure. However, my first response is to feel the emotion that's going on and know that the energy that is rising within me is my responsibility. The fact that I'm feeling insecure, the fact that I'm feeling jealous, the fact that I'm not feeling safe, that is mine. That is my feeling that I'm evoking within myself. In that scenario, that person, even though you are the one who hurt them, they are holding responsibility for their own emotions and asking you for a hand because you are in a relationship with each other. This person isn't putting this weight on you that you are bad in some way or that you are to blame for all of their hurt. A person who only possesses conditional accountability will respond in a way that makes you feel small. They will say, I said this thing in the past, you should already know how insecure I get in this kind of situation. Fuck you for doing this, fuck you for doing that. And obviously that example is pretty extreme. Like the nuances are often much more subtle than that. When accountability is conditional, meaning the person has to feel like they are the one in the wrong or the primary one in the wrong in order to take responsibility over their actions and their reactions and their behavior, it means that they are incapable currently of true effective growth. If you will only look in the mirror when you run out of fingers to point at other people, it means that you have a very hard time loving the reflection that you see. Being incapable of looking at yourself and admitting your faults and taking responsibility for your faults, not just admitting them, points to an inability to love yourself in those faults. You only feel love for yourself when you see yourself as the good guy. You can only love yourself when you see yourself as the do-gooder. So you start to develop this victim mentality because of the fact that you can't feel good about yourself when you're the bad guy. If a partner only takes accountability and responsibility when they cheat on you, when they abuse you, when they treat you like shit, if their accountability is inconsistent, it's not true accountability. True accountability means I am committed to being my best self. I am committed to learning and growing as a person. I understand that I can be at fault, that I can have my fuck ups, even if the person in front of me is triggering those fuck ups out of me through their own fuck ups. Just because the person next to me is toxic does not mean that I don't have my own toxicity to look at. The thing for me is it's so easy to recognize when someone takes no accountability because it's fucking obvious. A person who takes accountability will probably also, maybe I'm just projecting because this is how I see myself, a person who takes accountability will be self-aware that they don't see all of their own flaws, that they don't see all of their unhealthy patterning. However, they do want to see those things in themselves so that they can figure out what they can do to be the best person they can be, to be the highest version of themselves possible. Conditional accountability. It is saying, I am fine with the stage I'm in, and if you hurt me, I don't want to feel the pain of my hurt. I don't want to feel the discomfort of my trigger. So I am going to refuse to take accountability in this moment, and I'm going to push it all on you. And if you don't take accountability for literally every single thing that I feel like is wrong in this relationship, then I'm going to consciously or unconsciously emotionally punish you. What I believe is that a person's relationship to accountability is a tether or a link to every single other red flag, whether it's jealousy, whether it's hyper insecurity, whether it's stonewalling, gaslighting. All of those other red flags are a coping mechanism for the fact that at the end of the day, that person is refusing to look at themselves, that person is unwilling to see themselves as bad, and accountability, their version of accountability, will only ever be an escape from the fact that deep down, they are unwilling to feel and heal their shit. What that person is looking for is a person who can save them. They're looking for someone to right all the wrongs of their past. They're looking for someone who is able to make them feel all the good ways that they've always wanted to feel. And whenever you don't make them feel that way, they blame you because subconsciously they have placed that responsibility upon you instead of taking responsibility of themselves and asking for your help, for your love, for your guidance. And in a way, that makes a lot of sense because we're kind of sold this idea and this fairy tale that like the love of our life or our best friend is going to be there to save the day and make us see who we truly are and love ourselves. But what we don't often see is the fact that in order to actually get there in a sustainable way, that main character has to look at their own shit, has to face their own demons, and that a good friend and a good partner is not there to fix your insecurities, is not there to fix your problems, is not there to reassure you every single time you feel insecure and every single time you feel down and every single time something goes wrong. That's your job. That is your job. It's my job to take care of my emotions. It's my job to take care of my reactions. And when you get into a partnership, it's about taking care of the both of you. But if you can't take care of yourself, if you can't look in the mirror and see the ugliest, most easily judgeable aspects of yourself and be able to figure out what that part of you needs, how to take care of it, how to respond to it in a way that opens up a hand for other people to help instead of grabbing onto them for dear life, then you will never be able to evolve as a human being. You will be stuck in this state of misery over and over and over again, telling yourself the story that you're getting wronged over and over and over again. There's no getting around that any single type or form of relationship is going to come with hurt. It's going to come with people fucking up. It's going to come with people making mistakes, with people being reactive. It's a fact of life because we're human beings and we're imperfect creatures. So the goal is not to find a perfect person that is rarely or never insecure or someone that never gets jealous ever, because there can be the healthiest, most balanced, most whatever perfect person standing right in front of you and you can still feel like shit about yourself. But when you are hurt, does that person open up a platform for you anyway? Does that person give you a safe space to speak your mind? Does that person become honest about how your actions impact them and not use it as an excuse for how they hurt you? And on the flip side, are you a person that's capable of that? Like, really look at yourself. Are you capable of being more unconditionally accountable? It's easier to take accountability when you can not really fib your way out of the fact that you did something wrong, you did something hurtful. The thing that's harder to take accountability for is yourself, your own emotions, and not just admitting your faults, because admitting your faults is not the same as accountability. Accountability is a commitment to uncovering in yourself how you can do better. It's a commitment to growth. It's a commitment to change. It's a commitment to moving in the direction of self-love. And moving in the direction of self-love opens up your capacity to offer greater love to every single person that comes into your life. When I'm asking the universe for better relationships, for better friendships, I'm not asking for a person who will never trigger me. A person who never triggers me is a person who will never give me the gift of growth. What I'm asking for, a person who can sit there with me in my hurt, a person who is authentic about what they can do and what they can't do. A person who is comfortable with the fact that sometimes what they do is going to trigger me. A person who understands that sometimes the way I am is going to make them feel insecure or them feel hurt, but they will never ask me to change who I am. They will never ask me to take blame for what they are feeling. What they will ask of me is support in their feelings, being present with their hurt, somebody where I can take in everything they're saying and be honest about, hey, maybe this thing that I do that has genuinely hurt you is a behavior that I didn't see in myself. And now I have the opportunity to look at this behavior within myself and decide if this is something that I want to continue or not. A person who asks me to do better, not just so they can feel better, but so that we can grow together. It's about wanting to grow as an individual and as a unit. And so I personally have taken this on in a way in my life. And since adopting this pattern, oh my gosh, my level of authenticity has genuinely upgraded to a level I have never seen or experienced before. That's not to say that I don't have any friends that have their struggles with taking accountability, but my people, my core people, the relationships I have with people that are intimate, the relationships I have with people that are deep, are all people who have this capacity to take accountability, who have a willingness and a desire to look at themselves. Because the people that I want in my inner circle are people who are committed to their own growth. And I have friends that are not necessarily in that headspace, and there is a reason that I am not as close to those people. It is not because I don't love them. It is not because I see them as any lesser than me. It is because I'm aware of the fact that those people don't truly have the capacity to be in a healthy relationship with me. I am going to have to continuously either say no to who I am or accept that refusing to say no to who I am means creating a big reaction out of that person. I am aware that saying yes to that person's energy means saying no to myself. And I'm honestly at a point where I refuse to do that. I refuse to perpetuate my own misery. I refuse to being anything less than who I am. And I will be honest and say I still have moments where I am not listening to myself, where I listen to the pressure of some of my closer friends and fall into situations that I already knew I didn't want to end up in. My intuition always knows what's best. It always knows. And if I were to say yes simply for the sake of pleasing the people around me or doing what logically seems like should be right, I would have basically leaked so much of my energy that I can use towards things that actually excite me. I mean, once you really see how beautiful you are as a person, once you actually see what you're capable of, what you desire, what you want to achieve, saying yes to things that are beneath you, and not beneath you because that thing is somehow wrong or lesser than you, but beneath you because it's not what your authentic energy is calling you to, meaning that going to that place is going there from a lower place. You're going there because you're people pleasing. You're going there because you feel insecurity. You're not going there from a place of inspiration or love for a friend or any of those things. Going to things that are beneath you is investing your energy into a lower reality. You're investing yourself into a life and into a way of living that you do not want. Of course, it's important to sometimes look within and reevaluate, but following your truth is so important. Taking responsibility over your life and your decisions is the only way to make your life better. And so if you want to have a close, intimate relationship with someone, or if you want to find a person to be your life partner, and if they are not on the same page with taking personal responsibility over themselves, if you are not on the same page with being able to properly take accountability over your actions and reactions and your life, you are consenting to a life with someone that is going to literally be an anchor into a lower reality, an anchor into a mindset and a lifestyle that is not what you want. It is literally tethering you to a person who will be unable to fully actually love and accept you as your full authentic self, because nobody is going to be capable of loving you that way if they cannot love themselves that way. But the good news is, if you become the person that takes accountability unconditionally, if you become the person that takes responsibility over your own emotions, you will notice. It won't happen overnight, but it will happen over time. The people in your life who are closest to you are the same way. I have become so extremely lucky over the past 2 years, where either the people in my life have become those people over time when they previously were not, or I have found new people that are already in that state and attracted them from that state. My friends are not perfect. My friends have their own host of unhealthy traits in a multitude of different ways, and as do I. I am not a perfect person just because I come on here and I'm like, oh, hello, here's what to look out for with people, and this is what's toxic, and I'm so self-aware. Nah. Like, I know what kind of content I make, but I'm really never trying to put on a front that I am perfect or that I know everything, because I'm just a normal person like everybody else who just happens to be better and more self-aware than you. I've just come to realize that I'm done. Like, I'm done with people's bullshit. And I'm honestly done with my own bullshit. Like, my own bullshit's been quite bullshitty lately, and that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please do all the things, click all the buttons, and I will see you guys next time. Ciao. I forgot I was recording. That's so funny.